In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You're advised that any views expressed by the hosts or their guests are not necessarily the views of Togi Entertainment or its partners.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd. Robin, how's the fall foliage doing up there?
Hi, it's awesome. It's beautiful. It's cold. It's very, very cold today. Chilly, just a very chilly fall day.
Well, we got nothing new to report. Sunny California is just the same, sunny California.
But that's nice. You know, you envy us in the wintertime when you want the beautiful change in snow and whatnot, and we want it because we're sick of it. So I guess we're trying to be happy either way.
That's right. Well, it's just the color this time of year is so fantastic. You know, the brilliant reds and greens. Well, not really greens, but browns and yellows. I mean, I really do miss it this time of year. I look at out here, I've got some green leaves, a few brown, and some dead sticks.
Yeah. We've had down in the southern part of New Hampshire, we haven't had quite the brilliance that we normally do. Up country, I think they've had quite an array. Emily in Vermont says that it's quite colorful too. So, we've had a lot of tourists coming through, and it's a busy time of year in so many ways. It's very exciting. So
it is exciting. I mean, It's one of the things that, I always take time this time of year to remember with the changing of the leaves, it reminds us that nothing in our lives stays the same, that change is part of what we do. Our military families know this intimately because change is a big part of their life, not only the changes from, PCS relocation, the changes in the family structure, through pre-deployment, deployment, and post-deployment, but also many times our partners or our spouses or our friends change coming back from deployment. More often than not, I think they do.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very true. And going with that change, we need to go with the flow, so to speak, and we have to embrace what the new changes brought us. Instead of looking back, we look forward. Very, very important.
And that was something that you taught me today, Robin, and I want to share with our listeners. Robin, you're kind of your co-host, a co-business partner, a co-friend, or I don't know what you call it, surrogate mom, you name it. You wear a lot of hats. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that you shared with me today was to always look at what we can do as opposed to what we can't do. And I want to share with our listeners today, I spend a lot of time, between my company, my kids, and my charity work, my friends, my family, constantly going, I didn't get this done, or this isn't finished, or this, even like, Robin, I was doing my floor when I talked to you this morning, my kitchen floor, and it's still not done. I started it, got the bucket, got it all ready, the bucket's still in the sink in the laundry room, have not gotten to the floor.
Okay,
but
it'll be there later.
It'll be there. The floor is not going anywhere, neither is the dirt on the floor. But, you know, you reminded me today to really think about, for my daily meditation, to think about the things that I can do rather than focus on the things I can't do. And I think for our military families, especially as we go through our PCS moves, we go through separation from our loved ones, we go through the holiday season, which is a busy, busy time coming up for everybody. Let's just focus on what we can do and what we got done and not what we didn't.
And, you know, I think that sort of transcends. It's not that I've always sort of had that in my mind. I think in my younger days I probably was always so ambitious to make things the way I thought it should be. But I have to say that was a turning point for me when I was a cancer patient. And in surviving cancer, you do sort of reassess things and you look at what you have and the way things are now, not necessarily the way it was before. And I think our guest today talks about the new normal, and that is just so true in that we have to look at what is our new normal. What are we facing and what are we able to do now the way life is for us now? Life will never be the way it was 10, 15, 20 years ago for any of us. We're all older. We're all different. We've all had different experiences, and things are going to be different now. So I love that moving forward, that more positive approach to the new normal, because we don't have to live by any normal. We have to live by what we are right now and what we have right now. So I just think that's it goes no matter whether you're talking about military, you're talking about relationships, you're talking about new goals in life. You have to just look at it that way.
Well, that was one of the things, Robin. You know, you were there every step of the way in the formation of the company Motherhood Incorporated. That's one of the sponsors for Military Mom Talk Radio. And you were there through the demise of my marriage, through the birth of my kids, and then the new normal, you know, as a single mother. And that was a phrase that Janine had thrown my way, Janine from Touch.Nology, who are our guest today. She's like, Stan, you got to focus on the new normal. You got to figure out what the new normal is, because for a long time, I was functioning in the old normal, thinking, well, I could do this, I could do that. You know, there's financial considerations from divorce. There's physical limitations because you're only one person.
That's right.
And I really didn't understand that at first. I had that can-do mentality. I can do anything. And, you know, it was probably a year and a half of knocking myself and banging my head against the wall till I really figured out, with the help of you, Robin, and with our guest today, Janine, that I had to create a new normal.
Yeah, yeah. And I do love that term, because we can do it. We're just not going to do it in the same way.
Yeah, we may not do it gracefully either. For those of you out there that are struggling through the new normal, it was not a graceful transition for me.
But it doesn't matter how you get there, you got there.
That's right. That's right. And everybody else going through their transitions. And I think when I think of the deployments that families go on, they have to adjust to the normal of having the partner or the spouse home. Then they have to adjust to the partner or family member leaving. And we have to adjust today. We don't have Doris with our military news you can use. So we're going to adjust to that, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Robin, for some news this week.
Well, I do have a little bit in that I am tuning in right now to OpGratitude's website. And I know at this time of year, so many people are thinking, what can we do? And, of course, with needing to prepare things quite early to send overseas, I'm sure everybody is thinking, what can we do and what can we start preparing to send out. And one of the things that OpGratitude has on their website, it does talk about personal letters first and foremost. If anything, and especially in an economy where people are maybe scrimping a little bit in their own households, the letters that you can sit down and write are just the most important thing that we could do. So that is something, but if other things are on your mind, I'm reading their website. It says, handmade cool ties, scarves, 15-inch stuffed animals for battalion buddy programs. That's so precious. Beanie Babies are a wonderful thing. The one thing with Halloween coming up, they like superfluous candies to be sent over because they can send that and distribute to the kids in their regions, I guess, as well as having just a treat themselves. Volunteering at an armory. We know certainly the OpGrat packing routine, as you've well experienced, Sandra.
Well, we were stuffing OpGrat boxes with candy. I mean, it was so hard for all the volunteers not to dig in. And in fact, one little girl was she was maybe, 16, 17 years old, but she looked like she was about 10. She was standing near this candy bucket, and she was the one to, she'd put her hand in and then, drop a handful of candy into these Operation Gratitude boxes. This poor little girl, and I looked at her because she was just dying, and I said, just have one. She's like, no, I can't take one away from our service members. And I said, look, they're getting a whole handful. They're not going to miss one. And so I think she had a Kit Kat or something like that. It was so funny because I was looking at her, she's looking at me, and I'm like, this is just brutal, standing over this candy bucket. But it was all Halloween candy because a lot of it still had the Halloween markers on it, or, the bags we opened to fill the bins were, for bite-sized Halloween stuff.
And then the other thing that I do know is, certainly speaking from Girl Scouts, but also I am sure that the Boy Scouts do the same, is at this time of year, Girl Scouts often sell a fall product, nuts and wonderful nuts and candies. Our company is Ashton Farms, and they have a wonderful product. And the Boy Scouts, of course, sell their popcorn this time of year. I think it is anyway, isn't it, Sandra?
It is.
Is that out your way?
It is out my way.
If you personally do not want those products, ask the Scouts that you are buying from whether they are doing a donation, because so many times that troop can do an Operation Cookie Drop or an Operation Product Drop. So definitely ask the kids if you can contribute in that way.
Well, yeah, and if even, when my kids are out, shilling their popcorn, I just ask them if people don't want it, well, would you be willing to donate $1? And, eventually we get enough dollars that can buy some popcorn, and then we've dropped it off at shelters, we've dropped it off at nursing homes, places that will take it, and, we just simply, pass it on. Yeah.
So with that in mind, we're getting ready for a break here. We want to make sure that we just let everybody know to go to OperationGratitude.com. OpGratitude is the abbreviated version of it, and see all of the list of things that you can do to help our soldiers.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Homeschooling? Have questions? Get your pen and paper ready. It's the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Fridays at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. After a handsome blue-eyed Texan fell in love with Vivian at the Victoria Station in London, she found herself at DFW Airport with a tiny suitcase and a snazzy little duffel bag. Well, 25 years later, she is now happily married to that blue-eyed cowboy. They have 4 grown children ages 24 to 18 who became willing guinea pigs when she unwittingly stumbled upon the world of homeschooling. Wildflower Academy flourished for 15 years. They survived and thrived, and you can too. Vivian will be covering a wide range of issues that face homeschoolers. What do you do with kids in the summer? How to set up your one-room schoolhouse? How obedience is paramount? And what to do with those snakes? Plus, you'll be sharing ideas and insights that she gleaned from other homeschoolers. So join us for an engaging hour with the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Friday afternoons at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. Are you ready to get your woohoo on? From business and branding to babies, best-selling books, and personal breakthroughs? Then it's time to tune in to Woohoo Radio, Love, Life, Business, and the Pursuit of Happiness with your host, Lisa Stedman. Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Using her signature blend of inspiration, motivation, and kick-butt action, best-selling author and chief woohoo woman Lisa Stedman wants to help you discover the woohoo that only you can do. Lisa will show you how to create your signature woohoo way of love, life, business, and the pursuit of happiness without losing yourself. If you're tired of a one-size-fits-all approach to career, relationships, and personal growth, get your weekly woohoo on with Lisa and her rock star guests as they reveal their personal stories of bouncing back from boohoo of rock bottom into the woohoo of love, life, business, and the pursuit of happiness. Check out her website, lisastedman.com. Join us for Woohoo Radio, Love, Life, Business, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sail at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, my joined at the hip partner in crime, buddy, battle buddy, radio buddy, you name it.
It's pretty big hip if you got to figure we're from New Hampshire to California, huh?
Oh, I got those hips. In fact, one time, Robin, I was on a date, and this is, I was out near White Sands, New Mexico, and I was on a date, and the military guy I was going out with looked at me, and he says, honey, them is some mighty fine birthing hips. And
oh, my gosh.
was like, I think that's a compliment. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so every time I think of mighty big hips, that
you gotta laugh at that. Yeah, what a sweet compliment, I'm sure.
Well, but that's men for you. They just really, boy, I got to tell you, I've heard some winners in my day recently, but their heart's in the right place, and that's really all that matters.
Oh gosh. Well.
Yes. Where do we go from that one?
Yeah, I know it. Okay. I think we need to say hi to Janine.
I think we do, too. Janine is so amazing. Janine is the CEO of Touch.Nology, which is just a magnificent company. They've created so many great things for our military families and for transitions and for communications. And, I just love her. Janine, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yay. Hi, Janine.
Hi.
I was telling our listeners how much I love you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So top that.
I don't know. How do I top that?
I don't know. So, Janine, for those of you listening today who haven't heard Janine on our show before, she's been on our show last year and I think once or twice this year. But Janine, for those listeners who aren't familiar with Touch.Nology and their products and the things you do over there, why don't you share with us a little bit about Touch.Nology and their philosophy, because it is really cool.
Okay. Well, Touch.Nology is a company that I'm a co-founder of, and it is born out of personal experience where I had a really devastating car accident and was, for quite a while, had my hands and arms paralyzed and had really nasty prognosis of that was going to get worse and I was going to end up spending the rest of my life in a wheelchair. And while I was working my way, trying to find my way to recovery, while I couldn't do much with my body, I could still do some things with my mind, and I could do a little bit of art. And that, along with a lot of research, I started to develop these products that take research from this new area of neuroscience. It's got a kind of a long name, but it's actually really makes a lot of sense. It's called neuroplasticity, and I took that information and married it with all the communications and experience I had, and it started to make these products that look like books and journals and for kids activity books and different kinds of cards. And but what's built into them, I call it the technology behind the Touch.Nology, is that they actually work to utilize different parts of the brain to stimulate healing and a sense of well-being. And so we've been creating Touch.Nology kits and working with different branches of the U.S. military now for almost 6 years. And we've reached about 250,000 families.
Oh, my gosh.
We have a lot more to go. Our goal is to get at least one kind of kit in everybody's hands, but we feel we've had just tremendously positive results. I've never worked on anything that's been like this, where people will write to us and email us and send us cards and tell us about their experience, and their experience as they talk about it is exactly what the product is designed to do, how it's supposed to work.
Wow. How long ago did this all occur from your injury, Janine? How many years ago?
My accident was in 1997. It was 9 months after the birth of my son. So I had a 9-month-old, and I can't move my hands and arms.
Oh, my word.
I live in San Francisco, and I stopped at a light, on the side of one of those big hills, and another busy mom came over the hill, didn't see that anything was stopped, and just plowed into me full steam ahead, and that changed everything.
Oh, yes, in an instant.
In an instant. It changed everything.
And part of my question to ask you that is somewhat twofold, because I wanted to know you have reached hundreds of thousands of people in a relatively short amount of time, but also your progress had to have begun. It was somewhat of a computer age, but not as much as it is today. So the computer softwares and whatnot probably weren't as relevant to your initial development as they would be now. I mean, so many things are so computerized now, but probably in the 90s they weren't as advanced.
Well, that's kind of an interesting question, is that we still are doing things in this world, not everything in the virtual world.
Yeah.
And that is actually, there's a couple of different reasons. I mean, we're producing them in the digital world, right? They come out of digital files. And people could just receive them and print them out themselves. But when you're dealing with healing issues, every step you have to take to get you to the action you're supposed to be doing around healing seems like a mountain.
Yeah.
And there's also, it was interesting because I think, Robin, you were talking about with the Operation Gratitude packages how much a personal letter means.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done a great deal of research both with military families and non-military families, and we've worked with therapists and social workers. We've had input from over 60 therapists and social workers, and there is an absolutely different dynamic when you have something that's in this world. And it's something that you can look at, and you can look at again, and you can look at again. And so, for example, one of my favorite products is our gratitude cards. Sandra knows this. And our gratitude cards were really born out of understanding that what happens when someone's in a major fight or flight, which is either an anxiety attack or a post-traumatic stress incident. How do you get from there back to your regular self? And I took that challenge on because nobody could give me anything, because with so much, literally my entire spine was damaged. And so I could go into fight or flight. I could go into Ptsd with the blink of an eye. There were so many triggers. And the interesting thing is my spine was so damaged that nobody even talked about that. This was a minor problem compared to what the issues were that were going on. But I was finding not only could I not do things physically, but this emotional thing was just so taxing on me mentally. And it was like, what can we do? And as I researched, I found that gratitude was a big, big deal. It literally changes what part of the brain you're using, and when you go to that other part of the brain, your brain will then exert hormones and other and chemicals that make you feel better, and it will get you out of that spiral that comes. And anybody who's experienced it, it's like they'll talk about feeling like the Tasmanian devil. Remember that cartoon character? And you feel it coming, and here it comes, and it's like a tornado, but you have no control over that tornado.
Right.
Well, so we designed gratitude cards. Now, that online isn't going to work. You have to have it in your pocket, in your purse. You pull them out and you start reading them. If you have to generate, even if you know about this, if you have to generate gratitude, that's hard to do because literally the part of your brain that's thinking mind has been shut off. So you need a tool, and that tool needs to be in this realm. So while we continue to, there are many things that we can do in the virtual realm, we've continued to do the products in the physical realm. So when you're in your darkest hour, you have something you can grab and hold on to. And again, research shows that it works differently. You're working a different part of the brain. So this is a long answer to your question.
But it was something, because obviously it was an evolution, and it was something that needed to evolve from a completely different place that you ever thought you could ever be. And I think when you have to find, like we were talking earlier, and you have spoken about your new normal, you just can't get right into that new normal. You have to process into it, and it is a long process. But I was thinking just emotionally your process, but I was also then thinking you had to have done this physically, not with all of the help of the softwares that we have today. One of the things, too, that I wondered was, I know when anybody is ill, it's the prognosis. Once you know where you're at and what you have to set your mind to, then you can find and muster what you need to do to get to that goal. I think it's the waiting and wondering, all right, what am I going to be able to do? What is this test going to reveal? Those are the things that have been the challenges. I think once you have the goal, then you can say, okay, I know I have to reach that, and I'm going to do it. And it may be a long
haul,
but I am going to do it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Going through the testing and the prognosis and all of that is, and that also takes a long time. And actually, I kind of just ignored it. They would tell me what it was, and I was like, no, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Because there are sometimes you know your body, and you know your mind, and you know your determination. And I think once you get beyond that woe is me part, then you can say, I'm not going to stand for this. I am going to make this happen. And boy, are you a testament to that, because not only did you recover but you went to there and then some by establishing this company, which is truly remarkable. And we've got a break coming up, and after the break, we want to talk a little bit more about your product specifically, and then how you integrated that into supporting military families, because truly you have reached so many families, and we certainly want more and more people to be able to find you. So we are going to come back in a few moments. This is Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and me, Robin Boyd, with Janine Wilburn of Touch.Nology. We'll be back after the messages. Stay tuned.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
How to invest, where to save, where to get the right insurance, what to do about taxes. Should I relocate my business or ever purchase a property? That's where Go to My Radio Show comes in. Join host Chris Holt Tuesday afternoons at 1 Pacific, 3 Central on GoToMyRadioShow.com. Choose the right financial professional and learn more about the products and services while learning the terminology and strategies used by these professionals. Go to My Radio Show is unbiased, and Chris Holt, your host, will ask ask the hard questions and take calls to help you connect with the right professional who can help you better handle your financial and business choices. Go To My Radio Show is not a financial services company and does not offer any financial advice, but we will help you make the right choice when it comes to planning your financial future, and most of all, choosing the right program and the right professional for you. Go To My Radio Show with Chris Holt, Tuesday afternoons at 1 Pacific, 3 Central on GoToMyRadioShow.com.
Want to be challenged in a powerful way to leap beyond what you think is possible? Then join us Mondays for the Leah Jansen Show. Every Monday at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com with Leah Jansen. Listen live as life coach Leah uses her coaching skills to give you the tools you need to take action and create momentum. You are encouraged to call in and share your greatest fears, challenges, and obstacles. And then listen as Leah obliterates those barriers to success. For more on Leah and the show, check out her website, LeahJansen.com. That's Leah, LeahJantzen.com. Spend 1 hour with Leah, and you'll be captivated by her energy, enthusiasm, and magnetism. You'll quickly become addicted to her positive attitude and make it happen mentality. Ready for a life-changing, mood-altering show? Then get ready for Leah Jansen and listen live to The Leah Jansen Show every Monday morning at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hi, Military Moms. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd and Janine at Touch.Nology. And for those of you that missed the earlier part of the show, we talked about Janine's recovery, about recovery in general, and setting a goal. And if you haven't seen Janine's products at Touch.Nology, you can Google Touch.Nology, or there's a link to her site on our show. Janine, what's your website?
It's www.touch.nology.com.
So touch-nology.com, like technology, but it's Touch.Nology. Now, Janine, when you, after your accident and during your recovery process, you had some experience with PTSD or post-traumatic stress, which is something that's really prevalent in our military personnel from their service perspective, but also from other things that have happened to them both personally and professionally. Do you have, can you talk a little bit about PTSD and how you experienced it and what you want to share with our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. This is one of my areas I'm really passionate about because, my accident was 14 years ago, and I would still say that I experienced those symptoms. They're milder, and I have a lot more tools to deal with, but it's not gone. And what I like to do is talk about how to thrive with post-traumatic stress, because what I did for the first few years, I kept thinking I'm going to get back to where I was. This whole idea of new normal, I was like, no, if I just do X, Y, and Z, and if I rest more and I try all these different therapies and then I'll get back to the way I was. And I finally realized there was no going back to the way it was, but that was actually okay because I could actually go to great places and have it even be better than I thought, even with having this. And there were a couple of things that I found. There's actually 5 that are really key tips. One was recovery time. It's like everybody needs it, and even listening to Sandra, what you're talking about at the beginning of the show, our lives are so busy we kind of run from one thing to another. But when you have when your system's been assaulted that way, you need more time to recover. And so sometimes it feels like you can't handle any stress. You're like, I can't handle any stress. Everything sets me off. And it's really not about the amount of stress. It's that you have to make sure that you have enough time in between the stressors. So you need to have more time where you're not having any additional stressors coming on. And so it's like building your day and your work life. And it's possible if you know it. You could work at a very busy, demanding job. But if you know that you need those times, you can just build in some quiet time that you're not experiencing stressors. So one is to be aware of you need more recovery time. Another thing is that there's these peak anxiety times because there's just the oddest little things that can trigger this fight or flight response. And then you can stay in that state for hours. So even once the big spiral comes, you can still stay in this heightened state. And to say it seems like you've drank about 100 pots of coffee, and that still doesn't quite do it justice, just that level of anxiety. And so you need to have your tools for when that happens, or if you see there's all the different triggers are around and it could happen, what do? You need to have a couple of tools. It's like, one is you have to disengage, just completely get away from it. As I talked before the break, using gratitude to literally change what part of the brain I'm using and how to do it. Something else that does the same, that changes the brain differently but provides the same benefit, is to do something for someone else. That will help to calm those nerves, because once you have an incident, your nerves can stay like that for hours and even days. And that's a hard way to live when you have your nerve endings. And then the other thing is you can do something creative. And I know that sounds weird. People go, I'm not creative, and I'm not an artist, I'm not a musician, I'm not this. You can sing a song, you do anything to create, and does the same thing with your brain. It works. It helps to calm your whole system down by using a different part of your brain. So those are a couple of them. There's also, and a lot of our service members have this, when they come home, they're overloaded, there's too many inputs. And think about it, we have so many inputs, and you put that on top of having post-traumatic stress, then that makes it crazy. So like even going to the grocery store can be too many inputs. And so if you're aware of that and your family's aware of that, the answer is just to keep it simple. Everything you can do, try multitasking, throw it out the window. Just keep it simple. Over time, this will heal, and like I said, I still experience it to some degree, but it's manageable. Nobody else would ever know I'm experiencing it. It no longer upsets me when I experience it. But I do keep it simple. I've learned that I don't multitask the way I used to multitask, but if I focus on one thing, I can do it really well, and I can get a whole lot of those one things done. The fourth area is really this mind-body health. You have to work out. You need to exercise. It doesn't matter what that looks like. For me, sometimes you could barely see any movement, but I was exercising. And doing that will help, again, heal the system. And it's so important. One of the key things that when people talk about, they'll suggest yoga. Yoga's great. I'm an avid yoga practitioner. They suggest meditation. But there's a key thing about meditation. You need to do meditation that takes you out of your body. When you're going through these kinds of things, you don't want to do the meditation that goes into your body. When there's different kinds of meditation, they'll talk about that and they go deep inside. That's not what you want to do. That's the opposite. That will make you more depressed, can make you more anxious, and can even heighten it. So it's understanding how to meditate that's really important. And then you do all of these things, and you can start to accept and adjust to the new normal. Because you know what? Even without it, life would have changed. Life changes. It does change all the time, as you were talking about at the top of the show. And so as we change, it's just accepting the way it is and being able to find joy and find things that you love to do and keep going, moving forward, I think was what Robin said, and that's exactly right, moving forward.
It is so amazing. And one of the things that I am gleaning out of everything that you're saying, Janine, is that you are the one who is in control. And you have to realize that you can feel these things happening about you, and you can feel victimized until you turn it around and you become empowered and you say, I'm not going to let myself get to this level, or I'm not going to let myself fall into this, because I now have the tools that I know that I need to take care of and be responsible for my own body and my own mind.
Well, I think that's absolutely right, but there's kind of a slightly different perspective, which is it occurs. You're right. You don't feel a victim to it, because you now have tools that you can utilize, and the fact that it occurs, you may have nothing to do with it. You may have been having a great day, and someone cuts you off in traffic, and it's not because you're angry, but it truly, you had to slam on your brakes, and it was so jarring to your body. Now you're in the middle of it, and you have to pick up the kids at school, and you're just ready. What do you do? And the thing is it's frightening when you don't feel like you have any tools to deal with.
Yeah.
It's when you know that you can actually deal with it in that moment. And if one tool doesn't work, you got another tool.
Right.
They don't. That's when it starts to feel like it no longer controls you.
And that has to be such a weight lifted in that I think so many times when you are struggling with anything, whether it's a physical challenge, an emotional challenge, I think when you feel that you don't have the ability to see it through, that's when you succumb to it. And you're giving us that opportunity right here to be able to say, okay, this I have no control over, but I have that control. And I guess that was what I was referring to.
Exactly. And I'm sure that as you were fighting cancer, there was a place where you just said, no, I'm going to recover. I'm going to recover. And then when you have that, it's much easier for family members because the family members don't have any more warning than you have.
Oh, true.
And so it's how do your family members, like one minute you're this person and the next minute you're this other person, and they didn't see any big trigger. Because sometimes it can be, it could be a flash of a light or something. It doesn't have to be, something that your family members go, oh, this might happen. So what do? Well, if you've got these tools and you can't get a hold of them, they can actually sometimes help you, lead you into those as well. So they don't have to feel afraid of or victim to it either.
True.
They can help you.
And I think so many times we have discussed this with some of our other guests, that it is not something to go through alone. When reintegration takes place, it is not just the individual military person who has to go through this. It is the whole family going through this together because there are new normals for everybody. It's not just the individual. It is everybody in that person's life. So one of the things that we want to talk about, we're going to go to break in a couple of minutes, though. One of the things, and can we see some of your products on your website? Yes. So there are all of your kits there that are available, and we'll want to talk about those a little bit. And what I also want to talk a little bit about is who and how you developed Touch.Nology from your recovery to this corporation or company. It had to have been an evolution.
Yes, it was. To say the least. Okay.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're having a wonderful chat. Janine, you certainly are an inspiration just from many, many, many points, I have to say, to many listeners who are experiencing many different things in their lives. And we want to make sure that they can get in touch with you. They can visit www.touch, TOUCH-NOLOGY.com and be able to see not only products but learn a little bit more about Janine. And real quick, in 30 seconds, you're doing great now, though, I understand. Is that correct, Janine?
I am. I still have symptoms and whatnot, but I lead a really full life that I'm just I get up every morning and joyful. So if I get up some mornings and I can't move so well, I know what to do. I have my tools to keep me moving.
That is so great. Janine, we'll talk a little bit more on the other side of the commercials. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Renowned and gifted psychic medium Sylvia Rossi explores the mysteries of this life, the afterlife, and the unseen world that surrounds us all in the show called Make Contact with Sylvia Rossi, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Central here on TogiNet. Sylvia Rossi with her special guests and other fellow psychics invite you to call in and make contact with the world beyond and get answers to your questions. Psychic medium Sylvia Rossi has been sharing her gift professionally for the last 17 years. Sylvia has made it her mission to help individuals and families understand their eternal connection to loved ones that have passed on, bringing relief and comfort to countless souls who have been touched by her gift. She's had the privilege of meeting and working with many psychologists who continue to recommend their clients to her when conventional methods have failed. Now it's your turn to make contact with host and psychic medium Sylvia Rossi. Wednesdays at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Booyah! That's the word uttered when you know you have the upper hand. Or you're the winner. Well, now we have the Booyah Radio Hour with Martin Pressey. Tuesdays at 9, 8 Central on TogiNet.com. Martin's show is all about helping speakers and authors find their niche, create their brand, and achieve massive success. Each week, Martin will interview guests from around the world who have achieved tremendous success as speakers and authors. You'll find out who they are, what they do, and how you can follow in their footsteps to achieve incredible results. Guests will come from around the world of business, entertainment, finance, the arts, and sciences. Nothing is off topic. No subject too taboo. We'll share valuable information as well as huge laughs as we discover the ups and downs of being a successful speaker and author. The Booyah Radio Hour with Martin Pressey. Tuesdays at 9, 8 Central on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, Military Moms, this is Sandra Beck. I'm here with Robin Boyd and Janine from Touch.Nology. And for those of you that would like to contact Janine, you can contact her directly through Janine at Touch.Nology. That's touch with underscore knowledge. Or is it hyphen or dash? I forget.
It's a hyphen. It's not an underscore.
Oh, it's a hyphen. Yeah. So touch-knowledge.com, or just Google her company. You can find her. She's got lots of great information. You know, with 39,000 service members coming home, Janine, I'm sure you have some things that you can share with us about reintegration, you know, post-deployment when our family member comes home. It's a huge, huge shift for that family. Just, you know, some of the times we get letters and comments and posts on our Facebook, you know, just how hard it is for primarily our moms. We don't get that many, honestly, from Military Mom Talk Radio. We don't get a lot of guys. But, you know, the moms kind of have their status quo set. They might have been, you know, doing this for months on end, and their partner comes home, and though they're so happy to see them, and they're so happy they're safe and home, it just throws the whole family into, as one of the girls said to me, she goes, it throws our whole family into a loving uproar.
Well, it's honestly, I have this piece of writing that my father wrote during World War II, and he was somewhere between the age of 18 and 22, and he calls it the serviceman's greatest crime is that when you leave, part of what keeps you going is you hold on to the snapshot of life exactly the way it is. And it's not at all like that when you get home. And so you have this clash of expectations. So they remember you the way the family remembers their loved one the way they were before they left, and the service member remembers the family the way it was before they left, and everybody's changed. And so one of the first things that helps is to be able to talk about how you've changed. And so we recommend doing it a little bit in writing, because it's a lot easier sometimes to put it in writing, just like, here's how I've changed. And for children to tell their parent, here's how I'm different. Because of course, with kids, they have a new best friend, and, what they loved, they no longer love, and they're just, can't believe, mom or dad doesn't remember this or they didn't know this, and that was so yesterday. And, regardless of the age, and as you get into teens, it gets to be more. So there's a way to just, what do you like now? And, what about you do you see as yourself that's different that you would want your partner or your children to know? And then you can exchange those and just kind of sit with it a little bit. And I know that sounds like, well, wait a minute, that's like either a lot of work or I can't see my family doing it. But it's really remarkable because it takes away, it allows people to take the time to put into words something that they're having a very hard time expressing. And then the other person can read it privately, experience their own emotion, and then it gives you a forum to actually communicate from. So first of all, you have to get reacquainted now. And then there has to be some idea about what can you talk about, what can you not talk about. One mom was telling me, and she came from a military family, and she was talking about how her eldest son had come back from deployment. And so here her father had been career military, her husband was career military, her older son is career military, and the younger brother at the dinner table said, well, how many people did you kill on the first dinner home? And he just was used to asking his older brother everything about everything. He had no idea what that meant. And so having some idea of what kinds of questions you can ask and what kinds of questions you want to stay away from and let that person bring it up. Also, activities. This is a big one. Don't schedule so many activities. Your service member really needs some time to just orientate themselves. They need more recovery time. And here you are, and especially for the moms who've been holding it all together, they walk in the door and you want to hand some of it over. But you want to
run out the door. Are you kidding? Hand some over? It's run.
But you also want them to do it exactly your way.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. You want it done exactly your way, and neither of those two things work. So take a look at what the monthly calendar is and pick one or two things, really, that you can have your loved one be involved in, and then let them step up into it a little bit more. It will, over time, at the beginning it'll seem hard, but over time they'll be reintegrated faster. They'll be able to do more if they can take that transition time that they initially need. So those are a couple of ways. Oh, and recognizing and appreciating each other. That's a big thing. We tend to point out what's not working. I don't know. Maybe none of you are like that, but
are you kidding? That's like the status quo.
Yeah. Here's what's not working. Here's what was working.
Not working.
And so if you can point out what is working, what do you appreciate, say those words of kindness to each other. Just even when what you want to say is, I cannot believe you just did this. If you can say something kind to each other, you will later be able to come back and work that out. So it's those kinds of, because you have to rebuild you have to rebuild the connection. You need to rebuild that
Janine, oh, go ahead, Robin.
No, that was Janine starting to say something.
So
go ahead and finish your thought, Janine, because I did want to ask a question once you were done with your concept here.
Oh, no, I was just saying you have to, there's that time that you have to rebuild that connection and level of safety with each other so that you know that you can really trust each other again. And think about it, it's like early dating, for couples. You need to go back to that. And then you can, and that's not easy because you may be raising a family and you've got mortgages to pay and all kinds of things. You may be moving again, but you have to treat each other with that same kind of care that you did when you first met.
Well, and I'm just going to jump in here really quick, Janine, to illustrate your point with a girlfriend of mine whose husband came back to deployment. When he left, their little baby was a couple days old. When he came back to a toddler. And so he had never diapered a toddler before. And he was chasing this toddler. His husband chasing, big, strong Marine, chasing this toddler on who wouldn't keep her diaper on. And he finally, wrestles her to the ground. He gets the diaper back on. Well, it's on backwards. And my girlfriend was telling me it was so hard not to go, you go to Afghanistan, you can't get a diaper on. But the fact of the matter is he couldn't, and she totally had to bite her tongue because he was, like you said, a new normal. This was a different normal for him, and she was like, I love my husband. I wanted him to be happy he was home. He was proud he got the diaper on, albeit backwards. But for the sake of their marriage, she's like, I had to staple my lips shut, and it was really hard.
Oh, good for her, because that accomplishment of getting that diaper on, it took so much more than she could ever really experience, because here there's so many things he could do. But stepping in, just think about it. If you hadn't been with the child since it was a baby and you haven't diapered maybe ever, and now you got to figure out how to do it when they're moving, that is great.
With an audience.
with an audience, you're trying to prove you can do it. But
Semper Fi, honey, just keep going.
Oh, exactly. So we can remember that and appreciate with each other, to give each other just little notes saying, I love you, I appreciate you, or I'm sorry. Sometimes it's easier to say in a little note than it is to say face to face. But keep finding what's working instead of what's not working.
That's just so true on so many levels. Sandra?
Yeah, that's going out. Even if you have to text someone who you can't reach because of military issues and say, I'm sorry, that's better than letting it sit for days on end. I'm living through.
That's very true. Before we close the show, Janine, I just have to ask you, how did you find that entrepreneurial spirit to go from recovering and possibly being in a wheelchair for your life to being a co-founder of a corporation that's serving hundreds of thousands of people?
I'm just
3 minutes or less.
You know what? I was this challenge, and I had always seen myself as a pretty independent spirit and was really person who took on challenge. But this challenge was like something I'd never experienced, and I found that no matter how articulate I was, most people didn't understand what I was talking about. And I knew that I had found some ways to heal and recover, and that were unique, and I had to get them out. I just had to get them out. Every day I wake up and say, how do I get this to more people? How do I get this to more people? For me, it's not about the company. It's like, how do I get this for more people? Because having been through this myself, and then my son had an unnamed autoimmune disorder, and I almost lost him 4 times. So that happened after. So I was like, I know this stuff works, and how can we?
And did one trigger the other, Janine? I know we only have 2 minutes to the end of the show, but did one, like when you had the stress situations with your son after your accident, did you find that they intertwined and one brought up the other?
Sometimes they do kind of blend together, because it was it made my recovery just all that had to happen faster. My son needed me, and I had to be 100%, and or at least being able to fake it. I needed to be there for him, so it just made me more determined to have things work faster.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel so empowered right now.
So, Janine, what are we going to leave our listeners with? If there's one thing you could leave them with today in a minute or less that they can remember and they can use from the weeks to come, what would it be?
Be kind to themselves and to each other. Because in that kindness, they'll find hope. And from hope, you can do anything. And I would love to hear from I love to hear from people all over. Please contact me through our website. We also have a store where we've actually broken out some of the products so that we can give them to people individually. If you go to our website, you'll see the store. Just because I know these things sound really simple, but they make such a big difference. Such a big difference.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
How wonderful. Janine, thank you so much for being here, for being the person you are, and for reaching out to so many people and having made such a difference in so many lives. We want to make a mention that next week we've got Jody Bramer visiting us again. She's been a guest of ours in the past. We'll be talking about deployment issues, and we want to make sure that everybody knows to tune into our podcasts. We have them on our website, on our TogiNet page, and you can find us on iTunes. We hope you'll come back next week. Thanks, Janine. Take care, Sandra. Hope you're having a good week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.